All right, guys, welcome back to another one. I'm the gold standard, and today we are getting into it with another new leader from OP-09, Lim. Now, Lim has a very interesting playstyle, and if your opponents are not familiar with it, you can absolutely run him over. And I will say that coming up into OP-010, Lim is going to get a lot more support, so this could kind of be like an anime training montage for you, where you use the deck currently in OP-09, get your reps in, and then OP-010 rolls around, you drop your training weights off, kind of like Rock Lee fighting Gaara, and you start to absolutely demolish your opponents. So today we're going to take a look at the general strategy, how all the different parts work together to achieve the general strategy, some ideal lines of play, and then you can see it all in action in some gameplays. So guys, sit back, kick your feet up, and let's play some One Piece. So up first, let's take a look at this leader, who is a 5k 4-life leader in the colors of green and purple. And I have to say, guys, that I love green, purple, and red, so this deck is extremely fun for me. But the character's leader ability reads, your characters enter play as rested. And then the second part is activate main once per turn. You may rest 3 of your Dawn, set up to 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck as rested, and then play a 5-cost or lower Odyssey type character from your hand. So you kind of got 3 things going on with this leader. 1, all of your stuff enters play rested. 2, you have ramp built in, so that fits in with the purple archetype. And then 3, you've got this way to cheat in cheap characters and somewhat swarm the board by paying 3 Dawn to get a 5-cost or lower character. So knowing those are the tools we're working with, let's take a look at the general strategy for this character. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the whole deck in relation to this general strategy so you guys know what each part of the deck does. And honestly, guys, let me know in the comments if you like it broken down this way, or if you just want to see how the cards are grouped together by type or something like that in the future. So in the early game, and this is turns 1 through 3, you're going to find all of your pieces, so your top end, your blockers, things like that. And then you're going to start setting up cards with Restand and in particular blockers. So let's take a look at the cards that help you achieve this. So these are all the card draw options in this deck. First up, you've got 2 Searchers, the 1-cost 2k Law, who is a 1k counter, and on play, look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Straw Hat or Heart Pirates type with a cost of 2 or more and add it to your hand, and then place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So really with this card, you're actually looking for Zoro. Yes, you can find, 2k counters and stuff like that are other Straw Hats, but the most important thing this card is looking for is your 9-cost Zoro. Also, we have a 3-cost 5k Lim Searcher, who is on play. Look at the top 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Odyssey type card other than Lim, and add it to your hand, and then place the rest on the top or bottom in any order. And then at the end of your turn, if you have 3 or more rested characters, set this character as active. So this character is a searcher and has this Restand ability, which I will talk about here in a second. Up next, we have just pure draw option, which is a 5-cost 6k Sabo, who is a 1k counter. And it says when attacking once per turn, if you have 3 or more rested characters, you can just draw 1 card. And that might seem like a big number, but honestly, if you have 2 other rested characters and then swing with Sabo, you get the card draw. So it's actually really should say 2 rested characters and Sabo, but that's beside the point. And then finally, you have a filter option in the form of a 4-cost 5k Usopp, who also is a 1k counter, who's on play if you have 2 or more rested characters, draw 2 cards and trash 2 cards from your hand. If you have a bunch of dead cards in hand or something that you don't want, you can throw Usopp down and start digging up, your 9 drops, your top end, stuff like that. So remember, we are still in the early part of the game, and these are all the different ways that you can find the pieces that you're looking for. Now, the second part is to start developing cards with some sort of Restand ability. So up first, we have the 3-cost Chopper, who is a 4k 1k counter, who is end of your turn set up to 1 of your Odyssey type characters with a cost of 4 or less as active. So he can Restand himself at the end of the turn, which I think is so fun because you just put some Dawn on this Chopper, swing in, and then he restands, and he becomes like very pesky for your opponents to deal with. We already talked about Lim, who is at the end of your turn. If you have 3 or more rested characters, set this card as active. Really, it should say 2 other rested characters and then Lim, because obviously Lim is also rested if you're trying to activate that ability. Next up, we have the 3-cost 4k Rosinante, who is a 1k counter. This is a blocker who reads on your opponent's attack once per turn, set this card as active. So what you can do is you can swing with this, and then what ends up happening is if your opponent swings back, you can then restand this and use it as a blocker. But what happens more often than not is they just swing into this to try and clear it because they need to. It still activates his Restand ability, but then they just attack into this, and so it still acts as a blocker. So this card's a great way to protect valuable cards while also swinging into your opponent's board or life. And then finally, we have the 5-cost 6K Doflamingo blocker, who is a 1K counter that reads, end of your turn, if you have 2 or more rested characters, set this card as active. So really, it just needs one other character and himself, and then he'll restand. So if you have, for instance, Chopper in play, Doflamingo in play, and Lim in play, you can attack with all 3 of those. Restand Lim first, and it's very important that you guys do this in order on sim, because otherwise you can see one of my gameplays where I mess up the ordering, but you have to go Lim first, Doflamingo, and then Chopper restands himself at the end. And now you have a blocker and 2 more attackers going into the next turn that have all restood themselves and are now safe from your opponent's attacks. So the whole point of the restand package is it's a way for you to apply pressure to your opponent's board or life, but also to keep your blockers as a way to protect your high-end characters, which, as we see in the mid game, is the #1 thing you're going to want to do. And this is in turns 4 through 5, which is you're going to play one of your top end characters. And so in particular, what we're looking for is the 9-cost Zoro. And then you're going to utilize the cards that we just talked about with Restand to protect not only the 9-cost, but also to pressure your opponent's life and board. The reason that you need to do this is because with Lim's ability, all of your characters enter play rested. And so if you play Zoro, he comes into play rested. And so your opponents can just attack into him directly. If you don't have blockers set up, you're either going to just use a ton of counter protecting Zoro, or you're going to just end up losing him instantly. That's why it's very important in the early turns, like I said, in particular, to set up your blockers to then protect this. So knowing that's the case in the mid game, let's look at a couple more top end options that you have. So up first, we have the 9-cost 9K Zoro, who is when attacking once per turn, you can pay a Dawn, set this card as active, and then also activate main once per turn. You can pay 2 Dawn and set this card as active. So what ends up happening with this, if you were on a 10 Dawn turn, you can stack 7 Dawn onto Zoro, making him a 16K swinger, and you can attack 3 times. And it was very hard to make this card stick in previous decks like Bonnie or things like that. In this deck, it makes a lot of sense because you can ramp up to him very quickly and play blockers to defend him. And because you're ramping, it's hard for your opponents to develop enough Dawn to actually remove this Zoro as soon as you play him. It can happen, obviously, if you're playing into like Lucci or things like that, with just instant removal. But that's why this card works so well in this deck. Up next, I am using the 10-cost 10K Doflamingo, who is on play up to a total of 3 of your opponent's rested leader or character cards will not become active in your opponent's next refresh phase. So I think this card makes a ton of sense in this deck, because what happens is you play Doffy, he comes into play rested, but then he stops 3 of your opponent's attacks from coming through to try and then attack into Doffy on their turn. And so almost always this card sticks, because it's also very hard to remove a 10 cost with just the outright removal that, like, for instance, black decks play. And then finally, this is the new 9-cost 9K Audio. And this card is actually super fun in this deck. This guy's on play is if your leader has the Odyssey type, set up to 3 of your Dawn cards as active. And then on your opponent's attack once per turn, you may rest one of your Dawn cards. Up to one of your leaders or characters gains plus 2,000 power during this battle. So one option is because he comes into play and restands 3 Dawn. Really, this is a 6-cost 9K character, so you can actually use the other 3 Dawn to use your leader ability and bring into play a blocker, like we talked about, that can then restand itself, for instance, the Doffy blocker, to then protect audio. Or you can use 2 of those Dawn to then attach to your leader and swing in for something like that, leaving 1 Dawn up as a way to keep this defense going into the next turn. And if you're trying to be extremely defensive, there are cards like Spiderweb or things like that that you can keep up all 3 Dawn for, and you'll end up protecting this card almost guaranteed. So anyway, guys, these are your different top end options. Again, you can play with all of these ratios. You could even find other top end that you like more, but you're always trying to get one of these 3 cards down on turn 4. Because if we look at the way the ideal curves work out, which we'll talk about later, by turn 4, you can always play a 9-cost character. And if you're on the even curve, you can play a 10-cost. And then finally, the late game, and this is turns 5+. First of all, if Zoro sticks, you win. I mean, it's pretty rare that you have a Zoro on board and you lose the game. I mean, it's doable, but let's just be real. If Zoro sticks, you pretty much win. If they get rid of him, look at playing another top end or swarming the board with, your leader ability. And finally, at this point, this is when we're going to utilize cards with resting abilities in combination with our attackers to win the game. And so let's look at the different cards that have resting abilities. So up first, we have the 5-cost 5k Ace, who is really more of a 2k counter in this deck, but he reads on play if you have 2 or more rested characters, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. So he can rest blockers or, other key cards that your opponent has. But we do have a better version of this card in this deck, which is the 5-cost 6k Luffy here, who is a 1k counter and reads on play if you have 2 or more rested characters, rest up to one of your opponent's Dawn cards or characters with a cost of 6 or less. So yeah, you can rest blockers, you can rest characters that are 6 or less, but what's more important about this card is that you can rest up to one of your opponent's Dawn. So you're playing into like any purple deck, so purple Luffy right now, they always leave one Dawn up for Gum Gum Giant. And what you can do is you can swing in with one of your characters, like a very soft swing to begin with. And chances are they're not going to use Gum Gum Giant to counter like a 7k swing. And then what you'll do is you'll either play this off of leader ability or just hard cast it. And you'll rest their one Dawn that they have active for Gum Gum Giant. And now they have a dead card in hand and no way to draw up more cards. And then you can just swing through with the rest of your board. And so this is a great way to finish games against purple decks. And then finally, we have the 3-cost 3k Usohachi, who is also a 2k counter and reads on play if you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. So same thing as Ace. You can rest a 5-cost or less. He's just cheaper. It seems expensive to pay 5 to rest a 5, but paying 3 to rest a 5 is good value. So these are all of your cards with resting abilities that help you kind of go for that final push in the end game. That's the general strategy, and those are how all the cards relate to it. So now let's go over the ideal curves going odd or even so that you guys know exactly how to achieve the game state that I just outlined here. So up first, we have the odd curve. And honestly, with any ramp decks, guys, you're going to want to go first. So turn 1, you're going to play your Law Searcher, and you're going to be, in particular, looking for your 9-cost Zoro. Turn 2, you're going to ramp because you're going to be at 3 Dawn, and you're going to cheat in Sabo. And I think it's important to cheat in Sabo here because it's very hard for your opponents to get rid of a 6k character because they're only going to be coming up at 4 Dawn. And so they either have to commit all of their Dawn to removing this by attacking into it, or just play something, which means that you then have Sabo going into your next turn. And his card draw will be online because if we take a look at turn 3, you're going to ramp, you're going to play one of your 3 costs because you're going to be at 6 Dawn. So either Limb to search more stuff or your Doffy blocker. And then you're going to use leader ability to cheat in your 5-cost Doflamingo blocker. And if we look at this, all of this is going to come into play rested. And so now you can swing with Sabo, get the card draw, and then at the end of the turn, if you played Limb, you can restand Limb and Doffy, and Sabo becomes a target for them to swing into if they want. And then finally on turn 5, this is when you're going to play one of your top ends, so in particular Zoro. Audio is not a terrible option either. It just depends on, the game state and what you're trying to achieve. At this point, if you've played Doflamingo on the previous turn with Rosinante, you now have 2 blockers that can potentially defend this, which means it's going to be very hard for them to attack into it. And even if you only have the 1 blocker, that's still going to be a lot of Dawn commitment to try and get rid of Zoro. So unless they have just direct removal like a Red Rock, or if you're playing into Lucci and they, Ice Age and do some kind of combo off of that, most likely Zoro is going to stick here. That's the ideal curve getting to Zoro. And if you do this, look at the board that you've established. Like, you have potentially a 2k, a 6k, a 5 or 4k blocker, another 6k blocker, and Zoro. So your board is already maxed out. And you can put insane pressure on because so many of these cards are also restanding themselves. So yeah, guys, that is the ideal curve going odd. Now let's take a look at how this looks going even. So before we get into the even curve, guys, if you are getting any value out of this, please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. We have officially hit 1,000 subscribers. And guys, I just can't thank you enough for the support. I really do appreciate it. And guys, if you are looking for other ways to support the channel and you're already planning on buying cards, I do have a code for TCG Player. And what it does is it gives me a small percentage of your purchase. Currently, guys, we are sitting at $45.72. Actually more because of the balance. So like $47. And I cannot thank you guys enough. I plan on using this for giveaways. So basically once it hits $100, buying a box of whatever the newest release is and giving it away on the channel. So again, guys, if you want to use the code, great. If not, no worries. but thank you to all of you who already are, and let's get back into it. Cool, so up next we have the ideal curve going even. And I have to say, guys, that honestly there is really not much difference between the even and odd curve, and I have noticed this in particular with ramp decks, because they're really streamlined for the odd curve, but there is one key difference in this curve going even that I'll point out here, which is you're still gonna do your turn 1 play Searcher. On turn 2, you're gonna ramp, you're gonna hit your Sabo. Turn 3, you're still gonna hit either of your 3 costs or your 5 cost Doflamingo. And what's going to happen is because you end this turn with 8 Dawn, you're actually going to come up on turn 4 with 10 Dawn. I know this says turn 5, but it should say turn 4. And so you can actually drop Doflamingo on turn 4. And guys, I did this in numerous gameplays when I was testing out this deck, and it feels really good because there's just absolutely no way that they remove this the next turn. They can't attack into it, and it's super hard to remove a 10 cost with direct removal other than something like Red Rock or something like that. But when you have your 10 drop Doflamingo, a blocker, maybe a limb, and like a Sabo or something else going into your 5th turn, it feels really good, guys. That's the even curve. As I said, it's pretty similar to the odd curve. You could actually swap out, you know, different 5 costs here. You could swap in a Chopper here, for instance, if you need another 3 cost. But the point is to develop this momentum going into your 4th turn on both the even and the odd curves. Cool, guys. Last but not least, I want to touch on some of the ratios that I have in this deck so that you can make some decisions about how you want to play it. In all of my gameplays, I was actually using 4 Zoros and no audios. And so the deck list you see here is because I wanted to try audio. And honestly, I have a lot of fun playing this card, but it's definitely not super powerful or necessary. And I feel like you could absolutely just do 3 Zoros and 3 Doflamingos because the Zoros are still searchable and you really don't want to see more than maybe 2 of them in a game. So I think 4 is just too many. And then same with Doffy, because he's unsearchable, you have to draw into him, but I do feel like this card is amazing in this deck. But yeah, guys, that's all I've got for Lim here. Let me know in the comments if any of you are using this leader. I'd be very curious to hear what you guys think and what different builds you're using or cards that you think are really powerful in this. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And let's get into some gameplay. All right, so we are in it with a Marshall D. Teach. Usohachi isn't great. I do love this little chopper. I think he's so good. Because you can just like attack in over and over, but he'll just get removed. We do have the Zoro, but I just don't think it's enough. It's not enough stuff. Yeah, because we need to develop a board, a kind of a wide board and quick. Interesting he took first. For some reason, I thought we were going second, or I thought we were going first. Yeah, end the turn. I meant to use this, but forgot. Because this would have gone hard into Lafitte. Cool. Throwing down the Vasco. Do we take this first one? I don't really want to, but I think we do. Darn. Darn, darn, darn. And we are black holed. Wow, he got us good, honestly, guys. I was not expecting that. We're still gonna have to drop this because I do need it to clear some of his like weenies on his board. And then yeah, we'll drop that in. And the turn, get this guy standing again. The reason I played this even without the on play is because if he burned Vasco's shot to keep, yeah, see, so now he burned a Doc Q to KO a 1 cost Law. Like, I'm fine with that. Originally, I thought he was gonna he was gonna use Vasco to block Lafitte, and so then I was gonna have to have something to attack it next turn. And yeah, we're not going to be able to use this. Oh, wait, we'll use this. My bad. So let's see. We are at 7 next turn. So we can't play 2 things, unfortunately. So we'll just do some big attacks. Again, I could just drop this in. He does forget to black hole us, which is kind of good here, actually. We'll get rid of Doc, see what he does. Yeah, okay. Kind of okay with that. We'll drop this in. We'll drum up something. Lim is good in this matchup because you can just keep restanding it. Unfortunately, the Dawn doesn't. Well, actually, yeah, we'll take Lim here. Yeah, we'll take Lim. Oh, I can't. It's Straw Hats only. Lame. Lim would have gone so hard there, but that's fine. That's fine. We'll get this guy in. We'll drop a Don Quixote. And unfortunately, we have to do this. We have to clear this. Yeah, and then we'll drop in a Sabo there. So again, we have a pretty decent board. I like to go very wide against Blackbeard because it just makes it like they end up burning so many cards on counter. Probably be able to toss another Sabo in on the next turn, and I'll probably keep the rest for like counter and stuff. Yeah, we'll probably put one more Sabo in. It's unfortunate that we couldn't draw that Lim. That Lim goes so hard. Honestly, if he doesn't black hole us, I'm going to use this to rest this and attack into it. Goes 8 here, huh? Yeah, you can just have that. I'm going to just take that. That's fine. So he does pitch for the black hole. Fine. That's fine, guys. Totally fine. Okay, so I want to... Let me think about this because I do want to get an attack with Law here. Cool. What's he trigger? KO one of these bad boys. Yeah. Unfortunate. Triggers are kind of nasty in this deck. So let me think about this. We go, I have to attack with this guy next. And then we need to save 3 up for another Sabo. Yeah, we'll save 3 up for another Sabo. So what do? We go 7. We go 6. Yeah, we go 6 here. Another trigger. If it's another trigger and he just KOs Sabo here, I'm going to be pissed. Okay. It's a... Okay, so he draws another Dock Q, which is totally okay with me. So I think so we need 6, 7. So yeah, so we'll go 6, 7. Drop in that's cute. Okay, so we get the 7 there. I'm sure the 7 goes through, or presumably it goes through. Dude, another trigger. This guy got like every single one of his triggers in his life. Another Burgess. Okay. And we will put in another Sabo here. Yeah. And end our turn. So this board is pretty... I mean, it's wide. That's what we need. Okay, so he drops another Burgess. A Doc KOs that little guy. He can still swing into our board decently here. I have tons of counter, so I might use it. We'll just have to see what he does swing into. So he's going 8 into what? 8 into life here. And then 2 more 8s, or 1 more 8. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and counter that. Let me think about this. So he's got 4 cards. I think I counter this again. Yeah, because I think that these are just going to get stronger this next turn. And the fact that he didn't use, yeah, okay, so he also didn't black hole us, which is crazy. So I kind of want to just drop this in because then we'll have another attacker for sure. So let me think about this. We can go, I mean, we can potentially just go for a game right here. So let's go 9. Let's go like 9. Let me think about this. Because we get the blocker still. We can KO this. So I might do that at the very end. Yeah, so let's go. We'll go 8. We'll see what he does. It just takes that. I think we just have to go kind of heavy here. Because we can go 6, 8, 9. I can get a 2K. I mean, I might as well go 7. 7, 8, 8 is kind of better because then we get 3 cards, 8, 8. It's a risk, but I think we got to do it. Okay, just takes that. So let me think about this. 7 is Yeah, so if we go 7-9, that's 3. Yeah, so we got to go 7-9 here. Because 8-8 is just 2K, 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 2K. So it's 4 cards. But 7-9 is 2K, 1K. And 9 is 2K, 2K, 1K. So it's technically more. Yeah, so then we go 9 here. And if he has 2 2Ks and a 1K in hand, then we're done. Oh, nice. Oh, man. Yeah, so, I mean, if you break those attacks up, just kind of a math thing for you guys, but, like, the reason I went 7-9 is because 7 gets 2 cards out of hand, and 9 gets 3 cards, so that's 5 cards total. Whereas if I went 8-8, that's potentially only 4 cards that he needs to get out of it. It didn't really matter because he had 2 Blackbeards, but, I mean, GG's. GG's. All right, guys, we are in it with a Doffy here. He is taking first from us. So let me think, is this, we don't have any of our blockers. We do have a searcher though. And we have the 10 drop, which is unsearchable. I'm gonna keep this because we can search for something. And then we can put it out on the next turn anyway. Also, Sabo here might get some use. Yeah, we'll see. So he's doing a little rearranging. God. All right, so maybe we'll play a lot of top end this game. We'll see, we'll see. So no blockers still. Interesting, interesting, interesting. I mean, I guess we have to take this Sabo again. Yeah. Oh, we can't. All right, well, we'll take... I do like this chopper. We'll take it and see what we can do with it. 7, all right. Yeah, we take that for sure. Man, we are getting just nothing that we need right now. 2 on 2, yeah, you can have that. Unfortunate, unfortunate. So let's try and clear the... He takes it, all right, well, that's life. Let me think. What should we put in here? I guess, I mean, Sabo's going to get attacked into, so it'll eat an attack for us, hopefully. These are all 2Ks at this point. So he's going 8 on 6. Oh, man. And then what? We counter out of the others? I feel like I have to save this. I need to save something, yeah. So we've got to counter out of this. And then he gets 1 more, so... I guess this chopper is out, maybe. Problem is I can use that next turn and then still play. Yeah, we got to do this, unfortunately. Because I can play this and then use his ability. Yeah, we'll take that. Not what you want to see right now, but it is what it is. So let me think. We got 3, 3. So I can do like a 7. We can do like a 6, 7. Play this. Play this. Off leader ability, yeah, so let's do this. Let's go 6 here. See if we get a card out of his hand. He just gives it to us, cool. So yeah, we'll just play this. We'll use this, play this. What do we pitch into trash here? I mean, we need this. We need to get rid of one of these. I feel like this is going to be handy, so we'll get rid of both of these. And then we swing and we get another card. That's nice. That's a nice little... setup right there that we just did. And then end of turn, we can stand up to a 4 cost. So we'll stand Usopp because if Chopper eats an attack, cool. We get our blocker next turn. And actually we're at our 10 drop, so we could just start doing that. I think that might actually be the move. We'll see. We'll see what he attacks with. What we can actually freeze, because I mean he's also super good in this because we can just attack and then, you know, keep burning cards out of their hand. 6 on 7 or 7 on 6. Yeah, we'll counter that. Because then what else does he attack with here even? He's going 7 on 6. This means that he can't actually get rid of this next turn. Or this turn. Because he can put 2 on here. I can still counter that, yeah. So we'll counter this. I'll save it again. Mostly because it does draw a card. Like, yes, and so he is attacking with Teach here too, which is also good for us because we can potentially get Teach out of here. Because he's going 5 on, yeah, so we'll get this going. Honestly, I am totally fine with this because we can get Teach out. So let's start by that, by getting Teach out of here. I kind of want to drain some more cards from his hand. So let's just try and see what we can get from his hand. Yeah, we get a couple more things. Or do we get one more? I think, yeah, we established the 10 drop here. Freeze all this. And then we swing in. Let's swing in on Weevil. See if we can't get anything else out of his hand. Because we have this and this now next turn. Yeah, nice. Gives us a 2K. And we got rid of his Teach. And he can't. I mean, that hand is like, it's not a great hand. Okay, Grav Blades, 2 of those things out of here. Kind of expected, honestly. So we'll play both of these this next turn, maybe even this. Perona, so he's restacking the deck. Maybe looking for a red rock. We should keep that in mind. He only has one possible card in his hand right now, so we can clear this. We can clear both of these for sure. Set up our blocker, set up a limb attacker. I mean, I could even set up. So let's see. How do I want to do this? Because this is a 6. It'd be nice to clear both of these. So if we go 7 on 5, that guarantees it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. That gives us the 3. I'll play this. We'll see what we can search out. We do get the. I think we take this. Yeah. Ooh, this could also be good too right now. 3, because I only have 3 Dawn left. So, yeah, I think we take this because we'll play it next turn. I'm gonna use this just to drum up some more 2Ks. Yeah, we'll take this. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. And sure, and we'll put this in play and end the turn. And when you're doing this, you got to go Limb first, and then Don Quixote, because you might remember from some of my other gameplays that I did mess that up. Cool, so we got Jinbei into Weevil combo. He draws a card. And then he swings here. What's he swing on? He swings 7 on us. So, yeah, we block that. We'll give him a 2K. Interesting. 5 here. I'm not going to use this, so yeah. Let's go here. So he potentially has a lot of attacks coming through this next turn. We only get to clear one thing here, which is this. I'm tempted to try and find another blocker here. Yes, we do. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we'll take this. Yeah. Get that. Okay, so what do we want to do here even? I mean, we're going to put 2 blockers in, so I guess we just tee off on him. Yeah, we might be able to get him into lethal range on this turn. We need to save 3 up. Because if he has Grav Blade, I mean... Oh, he just messed that up. Unfortunate. Drops Perfume Femur. Okay, to draw the card. What could we do? Can we get him next turn? I don't think we can get him from this position next turn. So we got to keep pushing the advantage a little bit. He did mess up that counter. Yeah, so we'll go here. And he's definitely in range for us next turn. So let's go here. Gain the 1 rested. Doesn't matter. Go here, on here. End the turn. And we'll go limb first. And then both of these. I could have left the limbs down to maybe draw an attack in, but like he needs Grav Blade here to win, basically. Okay, so let's think about this. So we block this. I kind of, yeah, we'll just block, give him the 2K. I'm just going to take this one. Honestly, we shouldn't have even used this 2K now that I think about it. We should have just let the blocker die. Because he could have organized these attacks a little bit differently, but we'll see what happens here. Yeah, because if I had the 2K now... So let me think about this, because he has 2 more attackers, possibly. Yeah, so I just 2K out of this one. I just use both of these. And... Well, I guess he can go 5K, 5K, and it doesn't really matter. So let's go ahead and just see if we can draw in the rest of these attacks. Oh, man, he used Perfume Femur. I think he forgot that... that Sengoku is a Navy type. And Perona is a Thriller Bark. Yep. Ah, man. Yeah, he puts it on. He puts it on Jinbei. Oh, man. GG's, GG's. GG's, GG's. Hilarious. All right, we are in it with an RP Luffy. This is not the hand for us. This is not a ton better, but it is what it is. So they did get to go first, which is also less than desirable, but would be all right. We'd be all right. Unfortunately, we don't have a Law Searcher, so we hang tight. I don't want to take even one of these right now. I'm going to actually pitch this. I don't want to take like a really cheap hit. I want something... I want it to be, like I want it to matter. So we'll go 6 here. Try and get something out of hand. He takes that. He triggers a Gum Gum Gatling. That's unfortunate. Oh, man. I mean, we have to take one of these. And the turn. So does he attack into our limb here? So one of the nice things about limb is not a lot of people know how to play into it. So if he doesn't attack into our limb here, yeah. Like he has to do that. I know it's crazy, but I do want to counter, but I'm not going to because he'll swing with leader still. One of these is, yeah. So one of these we go, we counter out of that one. I could drop this. I'm gonna do this one because I could actually use this potentially to get back an Usopp. Yeah, and we take that for sure. Okay, so we're at 5. That's unfortunate because I need to get rid of this. So I can drop this. Yeah, we'll take that. I don't know how useful it's going to be yet, but we take it. And then I have 3 more, so I can go... Let me think about this. Because I'm going to want to ramp, because then we can drop this next turn. I don't think this is going to work for us right now. Yeah, so here's what we're going to do. We'll go 5 into Zoro. I'm assuming, yeah, he just gives that to us. We go here. Then we go here. Drop this in. We end the turn. So next turn we drop Zoro. Okay, he gets a new gate. Yeah, I mean, you can get rid of our blocker. That's fine. Okay. So unfortunate. So unfortunate. Because unfortunately what we really need to do here is I need to develop another blocker to protect Zoro. And that's going to be tough. So we'll go here. Yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping we'd get. We'll get 5 there. So we go 5. That is... Let me think about this. So yeah, we go 3. We go 7. We don't even get a good attack in, so it doesn't matter. And we'll go here. We can't even gain a Dawn. And the turn. And both of those. Hey, what the heck? Oh, I meant to play... You got to do limb first. Noted. I thought that it was kind of automatic, but messed that up. Messed it up. Okay, so this turn will definitely go here. Yeah, see, this I should have had still, but that's all right. That's all right. Okay, we definitely take that. Yeah, so we'll go... He is at 6 here, so we can attack with both of these. So we'll draw. What do we want here? I guess we have to take one of these two. It's kind of lame. I mean, we kind of got to try this. And we'll go here. And we'll go here, draw the card. Okay. Okay, so we have like some counter here. Let's see what he does. He's at 10 Dawn. So he definitely goes after Zoro here, obviously. I've got some counter. I've got a blocker. Depending on how he organizes these attacks. Yeah, so he goes what? Yeah, so we'll give him the counter here on this one. Yeah. Because we pretty much need this. So let me think about this, because I can actually use everything to counter, and then he might think. Or we just use the blocker, conversely, and he still has 6, so he can go 12 again. I think I will do that, because if he commits all of this Dawn to go in on Zoro and leaves nothing up, you know, that could be kind of good for us. Yeah, see, so he leaves one up for Gum Gum Red Rock here. So we'll pitch all of this. Yeah. Okay. So I wonder if I could clear these with enough of this Dawn. So he could be a... I kind of want to put a little pressure on life here first. Okay. Do that again. Potentially get some more counter out of his hand. He just takes that. So here, I mean, I feel like we just get... Let me think about this. So we've got 9, so I can put 15 on here. Yeah, we have to do this. Because, yeah, he's only got one Gum Gum, whatever. Yeah, he draws some cards here. But look at that. Look how much he has to pitch for this. Yeah, there's just no way. Yeah. All right, cool. GG's, I believe. GG's. Yeah, GG's. Yeah, so that's why I saved the Zoro there with my blocker, is because then he had to commit more Dawn and he just figured he had it. Even if he would have gone 12, like I still would have countered and then we could have just done the same crackback. So cool. GG's. GG's.